Hi, it's Vishali. I am at Stamford Bridge where Chelsea have beaten Watford 4-2 in what was an absolutely thrilling game. You know, they avoided losing their third straight Premier League game. The last time Chelsea did that was 2 seasons ago when Jose Mourinho was sacked. It hasn't happened now. Chelsea are, you know, you'd think they've got the win and hopefully the confidence to kind of kick on now. But you know what I thought was really interesting was how they started the game and then the wobble that they had in between, in the middle of the game, and how they ended it much more stronger. Now Conte, he started the game with Luiz back in defence and he had his 3-4-3 set up. He had said before this game that he didn't like having Luiz in midfield against Roma, while Luiz did really well, because it changed the way Chelsea played and they weren't the same team, and you know that's why they had long periods in that match where they weren't dominating. So he decided to have Luiz back in defence, and it was a bit of a risk because of course Luiz and Bakayoko felt some pain, didn't they, against Roma. He put them back in and they certainly looked much more in control at the beginning of the match, and they got the opener. Slightly controversial fashion. I mean, Pedro scored a stunning goal, there is no doubting that it was a stunning goal, but the corner from which the goal came actually should have been a goal kick, not a corner, and that was what the Watford fans were absolutely furious about behind Gomez's goal. They just thought that it shouldn't have even led to a goal. It did. Chelsea 1-0 up. Hazard at that point was running the show. He was superb. You know, he was linking up with Morata really well, and Chelsea looked pretty good early on in the game. But Watford began to take the match to Chelsea, and they were rewarded just before the half-time break, exactly how Roma got back into the match actually in the Champions League in midweek. They scored right before the half-time break, and it was Doucouré who scored. He's having a fantastic season for Watford, and the timing couldn't have been worse. It knocked Chelsea's confidence. They came back out and they seemed to lose their defensive organisation. They seemed to lose their heads almost. Luiz, there was a moment right before Pereira's goal where Luiz was angrily shouting at Azpilicueta about something. And moments later they were completely caught out of position, and Pereira scored the goal to make it 2-1 to Watford. And at that point Conte made quite a brave decision. He took off top scorer Alvaro Morata for Michy Batshuayi. You know, Batshuayi, he received quite a lot of criticism after the Crystal Palace loss. He brought him on and it changed the game. It also changed the game when he brought on Willian for Marcos Alonso, and then he brought on Zappacosta later on for Pedro, and those changes worked. I mean, Batshuayi's header, the equaliser, came after he headed in Pedro's cross. Azpilicueta then scored, and he scored off the back of Willian's cross, and then of course Batshuayi, he added the gloss on that win in added time to secure 4-2 win. And you know, when the game ended, I almost couldn't believe, like a lot of Chelsea fans, that Chelsea had walked away with all 3 points. But we have to praise Batshuayi, and the reason why I'm going to praise him is because he's been patient. It hasn't been an easy time for him, knowing he's second choice to Morata, knowing that essentially he's playing as a sub. Now, in a lot of ways, you compare Morata and you compare Batshuayi. Undoubtedly, Morata has way more experience than Batshuayi, even though he's just, what, a year older than Batshuayi. You know, he's played for Real Madrid, he's played for Juventus, he's scored in huge games, and he deservedly is first choice. He's had that really stunning start to the season. But Batshuayi, it's a bit hard. He doesn't necessarily get the game time to prove what he can do, and then when he does come on, he's under intense pressure to try and show what he can do. Today it paid off, and I'm pleased for him. You know, I thought also today Willian, you know, he got an assist, and he's been someone who's come under scrutiny this season. He showed what he can do for Chelsea today as well, and for Conte, it means the pressure is a little bit off him now. You know, they're back on track now, hopefully in the Premier League, and they've got that huge game against Everton coming up in the League Cup next week. But this will relieve some of the pressure on Chelsea, on Conte, and the players as well, because they've had a really, really rocky start to the season. It's not as bad as 2 seasons ago, and they just need to ensure that they try and find a way to keep getting the points without some of their star players like Kante and like Moses.